Do wrestlers with small physiques deserve a push? Initially, when wrestlers with smaller physiques were pushed, it seemed strange because the audience was used to larger wrestlers like Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and taller wrestlers. I don't have a problem with pushing wrestlers who are short or have weak physiques, but not to the exaggerated extent we see today. For example, Rey Mysterio's 2006 Royal Rumble victory and his subsequent world title win were illogical. How could a wrestler with that physique and height defeat so many other wrestlers with weak physiques? That's wrong. The majority should be tall and have large physiques, not the other way around. Wrestlers with smaller physiques are now headline-ping main events and receiving incredible pushes, which is completely illogical and bizarre for any fan. It's utterly illogical, and it makes even the most casual viewer feel that the very essence of wrestling has been shattered, descending into chaos. This is undoubtedly a negative development. I support pushes for shorter wrestlers, but only on rare occasions. That's the best solution. What's happening now, like Bryan headlines WrestleMania and wins the world title in the main event, and Rey Mysterio makes this situation completely illogical. Let's talk about the positive aspects of shorter wrestlers, their speed and agility. This is something that needs to be varied, with matches featuring larger physiques and matches featuring smaller ones to create a kind of balance in the shows. But the chaos that's happening now, anyone can become a wrestler, is foolish. That's why the shows are declining in quality, and the audience no longer knows the criteria for winning or what constitutes logic. This has affected the weekly and monthly shows. Now, if you ask anyone about the criteria for winning, they won't know, because the whole thing has become chaotic. If things continue like this, we might see a short wrestler, for example, defeat 6 wrestlers simultaneously. This is unrealistic. If you want to talk about logic, look at the pre-Attitude Era. Things were logical then, and the wrestlers were organized systematically, not in the current chaotic state. So what's happening is strange. Even tag team matches have been affected. Since when do we see tag teams with weak physiques? Tag teams are known for their powerful presence, like gangs. How can you make them weak? This is a major weakness in the tag team division. Even the United States and Intercontinental titles are now being contested by wrestlers with weak physiques, which is detrimental to the shows. The current system, where only tag team titles, minor championships, and world titles dominate, is illogical. Therefore, the only solution is to revert to the old system while developing wrestlers with smaller physiques. Their presence is important, but not in this way. They should be utilized fairly and logically. What we see today is completely illogical. Imagine if they added a limited number of wrestlers with smaller physiques. It would create a sense of distinction and surprise, and people would get excited every time. Diversification in wrestlers and rivalries is important. Imagine if they varied the level of the shows, it would reach an unimaginable level of creativity and excitement. But the company doesn't think in terms of real wrestling. Any expert who understands wrestling can point out their glaring mistakes. Therefore, they should utilize wrestlers with smaller physiques and support them, but in a logical way. This applies not only to WWE, but to all wrestling companies that strive for perfection in their shows. This is important and makes sense, unlike what we see today. If you want logical shows, you must do this.